Hello. Welcome to episode 14
Hi.
of the Twin Tell All podcast. I am Ava.
She always does that. I'm Aveen.
And thank you guys so much for listening on our 14th episode.
Oh my god.
I was trying to think
It's been over 2 months.
I know, because
It's been over 2 months of this. Can you
my
believe
God.
that? Can you? I don't think our listeners can even believe that.
14.
Yeah, if you guys have been here
crazy.
for all 14 episodes,
Wait,
like,
you said
we love
over
you guys.
2 months? 14? That's 14 weeks. That's over 2. That's 2.5. That's 3 months.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like
That's
more like 3 months.
3 months.
That's
and
like
2
about
weeks, so
3
3 and
months.
a half
Yeah,
months.
3.5 months.
That's even worse.
That's crazy.
Oh my god.
That's literally
Okay,
crazy.
well, if you've lasted this long,
if you've listened to Ava and I talk about this,
if you've listened to Aveen and I for this 14th episode, thank you.
yes, thank you.
Follow
We're
us
rambling,
on
but
TikTok,
thank you.
Instagram, and we'll just keep you updated. I need to figure out something to post other than like a damn screenshot of like the Spotify. Like I need to be more creative.
Give us
That's
ideas.
on me, yeah.
Give us ideas.
If you can give us ideas, or if you like it, maybe I'll keep it. I just think it's like weird the way
Yes,
it's like
tell us what
always
you
just
think.
a screenshot. Okay, for this episode, Aveen, you were deciding the idea. Do you want to introduce the topic?
Yes, so Ava and I have very, very hot takes, as you guys have already heard.
But
But
if you haven't, go check that out.
exactly,
I forgot the episode, but you'll see
check
it
it out.
on our...
It's the hot take episode, and we've been told that that's a really good episode. Anyways, but I wanted to talk about Gen Z culture for a minute because Ava and I have some very strong opinions about Gen Z culture and how we contribute to it and how like we relate
we are
to it.
separated from
And
it too.
in some ways separated, in some ways connected. And I feel like this is a really good topic that a lot of people can relate to. So that's our episode. But first, Ava, how was your week? Give us a cutesy mini
Oh
brief.
yeah, my week's been fine. Nothing too crazy. Just a lot of projects. And then we went to the TCU Texas game with
Yay,
Anna. Shout out
welcome.
Anna. It was so fun. We were right in the front row, which was the closest I've ever been to a field, which is so fun.
Crazy.
We got on the screen like 2 times.
Literally.
And Aveen and I almost like flashed a hook'em and almost had to hide it because it was bad.
Because the other thing is like they kicked us out the first time we went because we were Longhorn fans.
Yes.
And also you guys, there's this place called Coco Shrimp that's at Fort Worth. Shout out Coco Shrimp. It is the most like picture me this most beautiful, tender, amazing shrimp with buttery ass rice and a cutesy
Buttery ass rice.
and then like a cutesy side salad. Like it's so
It was
freaking
really good. Okay, do you want to transition to the
Let's do
topic
it.
and what you wanted to talk about first?
So my question or my first topic is
like,
I
why did you
think-
choose this topic?
The reason why I chose this topic is because Ava and I, we talk about this a lot, okay? I hate Doja Cat music. I don't like a lot of Gen Z stuff.
Do you know what I
don't
just
like
played? I'm
anything
sorry.
that's
Can
on
I
the-
cut
wait,
in real
pause.
quick? Okay.
I don't like anything that's on the radio right now. And Ava and I, we were talking about this one thing in specific. Like, I had a huge Adele phase, okay?
Yes.
I feel like most girls did. Most girls had a big Adele phase because at that moment in time when Adele was poppin', okay? She has always been poppin', but she peaked.
Truly poppin'.
She's always been truly poppin'. She started like a new era of peak Adele when we were like in middle school. And I remember stumbling upon this interview that she had, you guys. She was like talking about rolling in the deep. And there's this song that's like, what you know about rolling. And I was like, are we even comparing those two things together? Like that
Yes.
that is literally not even like that.
Like,
is-
basically, she talked about how, like,
That is
she was talking
dirt.
to her kids, and her
Yeah.
kids don't know
her own
Adele's
song.
own Rolling in the Deep song, which if you haven't heard that song, please play it.
Yeah,
And that
stop
they were
the
mistaking
podcast.
it for the TikTok sound that goes, what you know about rolling
Yeah.
that. And that was embarrassing.
Embarrassing. Like, how are we putting a goddess woman like that on the same level as that song? Like,
yeah.
absolute jail. And so that's why but then again, I say things like jail and stuff, and that's so Gen Z, so it's like, it's weird. Like, it's weird.
Or Slay.
Or like, yeah,
Like, I feel
say,
like Slay is so overused at this point.
yeah, well,
Like,
I
some
can't
people
stop,
say it, and like,
so-
it's okay if you don't stop, but like, the Slay thing has got to go, in my
Okay,
opinion. Like, I'll say it sometimes,
yeah,
but
you'll
like,
say it too. Don't be a hypocrite.
but I don't say it that much. Like, I don't say
Okay.
slayage.
Okay, well, whatever.
I don't know.
I don't really care.
But see, like, that's the point. It's like Aveen and I are kind of Gen Z, but we're kind of not. And on the topic of like the music, this is what I was gonna say. You know what song
I don't really
just
like
popped
Billie
up?
Eilish that much. I only
Yeah, I
like
don't
a
like
few.
Billie
I
Eilish.
only like the Barbie song that she made. I call it the Barbie
Happier
song.
Than Ever, I think is what it's
I don't
called.
know. It's like the.
It's
you
good.
know
It's
what
like,
I'm talking about.
when did it end?
That one's sad though.
It is sad, but this is not the song that was sad that I was thinking about. You know what song popped up on my Spotify? Now that, okay, I don't know if we've talked about this, but Aveen and I never had Spotify until like recently.
I still don't have Spotify.
I mean, and by Spotify, I mean Spotify Premium.
Yeah.
When we were younger, I'm going to tell them this. When we were younger, we never wanted to pay for music.
Oh, yeah.
So back in the days where there was just iTunes, Aveen and I would use, so I'd say, hey, Aveen, like, let's record this song. Aveen would play the YouTube video of a song that I would like, or we would like, and I would put a voice memo recording, and I'd record the song on YouTube and pause it so that we could listen to it.
Yeah, we were pirating our own music.
It was so funny because that's
so
the way
hilarious.
We do music.
Yeah.
But what was I talking about? Oh,
Forever
this is
too.
the song. This is the song that I listened to. It was
what?
Suicide if you want to child.
Yeah, no.
XXX Tentacion.
Okay, also I know he passed away, so
yeah,
that's
in peace.
That's unfortunate. But what I'm trying to say is, when it comes to like, I didn't even like any of those songs, like none of them. I don't really like Post Malone that much. I don't really like Jack Harlow. Sorry, Ava, he's not that good. Like there's a lot of music that is just like stereotypical Gen Z mainstream.
Or
I just don't like
Ice Spice.
Yeah, see, I don't even know. Like,
sometimes I think that like other artists deserve more credit than like the mainstream media.
Yes, if you listen to Griff, go listen to Griff. Also, Ava and I have a friend that released a song at Unamia. If you guys like want to go listen to it, literally go listen to it.
Really sweet girl we met on vacation. Did we talk about the story? I think we talked about her story on the pod.
She's literally on the pod. Indirectly, she's on the pod.
If y'all listen, I forgot which pod it was, but we were talking about this girl that we were friends with that we met on vacation.
Yeah, we couldn't expose her. So
anyway,
she doesn't know.
Okay, cool.
But in this scenario,
go stream at Unamia, UNAMIA music.
Yes, she's literally amazing. See, like artists like that are actually making music and making like good music like that. That's like. She's not doing it for hits. She's literally creating her own art form and posting it.
She's being passionate about it.
Exactly. Like that's the type of stuff I like. And I don't really like, and I can so tell Ava nowadays when artists put out music just for like the TikTok. Like it's very freaking obvious. And that's why even Adele and some other celebrities are seeing it. Nobody other than like the people who are really, really good release albums. Mostly people are releasing EPs or they're just releasing singles like little by little, and it's just kind of annoying. Like I think they even called it like a body of work. Like this isn't my words, but like I just remember the video. Like nobody's creating a body of work, and that's so accurate. And even Drake, like I used to love Drake, not anymore. What the heck was that new album?
It's just like it's just getting weird sometimes.
Yeah, it's just not.
But sometimes with albums, you have to listen to it multiple times to really get into it. Anyway. This is the other thing I was about to say, but like speaking about the Gen Z divide, there's a big division I think with millennials and Gen Z, and the new generation is Gen Alpha, which I don't know if you've heard, but I see it all over like Instagram and TikTok.
No, they need to go.
Gen Alpha or iPad kids to the max that sing weird ass shit. Like they just, if you thought our generation was TikTok addicted. And this I talk about all the freaking time because I have seen like so many videos out there of like middle schoolers. First of all, middle schoolers now are born in like 2013 or 2000. How old are you when you're in middle school? Like
literally,
12?
Like literally 12.
2011.
Literally so weird.
If you are born in anything after 2009, I can't really believe that.
That's another thing. The other thing, Ava, is that like the issue is that these people are getting exposed to social media at such a young age, and it's like I literally know friends of friends who have like little girls and stuff that are on TikTok and stuff doing like white lies parties with their friends.
No, I know. Like we've already kind of talked about this. I feel like
we talked about it. The thing is, the problem is having these like Gen Alpha people exposed to TikTok and stuff is not okay. Like if I have a child, right, like later, they're not gonna have like they're gonna grow up like the way we did. Like we didn't get our first phone, you guys, until like
fifth grade. But what I'm saying is,
but I didn't get actual
social media.
Until, like, 7th,
but here's the thing that I was talking about. It was like I see videos of like people going viral in middle school and they're like doing TikTok dances and they're going viral because like they make good music and like I guess like they're like really pretty or like really cute or whatever. If I grew up around that type of thing, I think my self-confidence would be
Zero.
not sky high, to the
Zero.
ground.
Zero.
Like to Earth's core level. Because I just can't even imagine being like, you see it all the time, like kids getting pressured like at the mall to buy Lululemon or like buy drunk elephant serums just because the popular girls are using it. Like back in our age, the popular girls were like, they still sometimes do this, but the popular girls were like having parties without you. Does that make sense? Like they were like, you know, like they were just going to a
weren't
invited.
invited.
You just weren't invited,
Yeah.
or like they were doing cheer and you weren't part of the cheer culture.
Exactly.
That was like
that
pretty
was
much
it.
as segregated as it got. But in this day and age, it's like the segregation, and maybe that's not a good word. Like the separation is consumerist focused and social popularity focused. Because when we were growing up, it was like social media was a thing, but it wasn't as drastic to where like you had big name influencers where you could like gain 200
like you didn't watch her video,
like
Instagram,
that wasn't, you would
get
like max 20 likes and be the shit. Like nowadays you have middle schoolers like
having
getting
like
thousands of followers, and when you see that when you're middle school and you don't have the jewelry the girl has that's getting this many likes, like it does something to you.
It can.
It's
it
terrible.
depends on how good your sense of
I get that, but at
normal
this same age, a lot of people
is.
like your self-confidence is not even really, you're not even conscious about it.
Okay, but the other thing is it also depends on how much, like we can look at that and be like, yeah, social media is like worthless, like it doesn't really mean anything. When you're like little and impressionable like that, it can kind of mean, you think it means more than it does, and it takes you a while to realize that it like really doesn't mean, like you having 20,000 followers versus 3 really isn't
but
that big
even
of a
in then, like in middle school and high school, everyone is obsessed with popularity in the school. Now it's just being like extended to the digital realm too.
Yeah,
like
it's really bad.
I like
it's
know
really
for
terrible.
a fact that like I would have such low self-confidence if I was in middle school.
And I remember Ab and I, we were having a conversation about this earlier. Like we legitimately said that like Abba was like, I had my peak confidence. Like you couldn't tell me anything in middle school. I remember we were looking at like our old photos.
Yeah,
I was like, I thought I was everything in that photo.
It wasn't even that I thought I was everything.
Like, you weren't
it's
even
just like
thinking about it.
Like I think COVID dramatically changed my mentality and like my mental sphere. Like
hot take, I don't really think
okay,
it changed
for you
that much,
it didn't change you that much, but
like,
for
I
me,
really
like I don't
don't
even
think
know
it
what
did.
it was. Like, you know, I look back at like photos of myself in middle school and it's like I didn't care what anyone thought of me, but I feel like COVID and being segregated for some reason, I keep saying segregated. What do I keep saying?
You're
that?
just being like,
isolated.
Separated. Yeah,
isolated. Like it made me care a lot more, I guess, about what people thought, which like I never ever like, even in high school, like I dressed like pretty bad. Like I wouldn't really, like not in a bad way. Like
we just
I just
didn't have time to care.
Like
we didn't have time to care.
We had volleyball, but like now after COVID, right? Like after COVID, we basically became seniors, and then we became college. Like everything, I feel like was a bit more on blast, and like a lot of people came out of that. Like we had masks, so then there was always that thing about like, you know, like when are we gonna get rid of the mask? You know, like it was just always weird, and I think COVID like altered my perception of human interaction a lot more because we were so isolated. And you know, that's just something I think about, and like I just know that like it sucks in this, like social media is great, but like the Gen Alphas I really feel bad for, which is why like I actually wrote this down. Like I think our generation, because the generation of parents that are Gen Alpha are just kind of like, hate to say it, but millennials that are just like at the grip of their children that don't really know and will just like happily give them an iPad to get an hour of silence because they don't understand.
Say that louder.
They don't
Bolded,
understand the impact, because Gen Z, I think, is the first generation, true generation, to really understand the impacts of technology, which is why I know, like I saw this video about it, but I didn't need to see a video about it to know that we will not give our kids iPads.
No.
And we don't need convincing. Like we'd rather suffer from insufferable crying or whatever the reason is people give their kids phones, because we know how detrimental it can be. And I remember our parents, like shout out mom and dad, like telling us like not to download Instagram and stuff, but as a kid you always want it because your friends have it. So like, you know, there's always going to be that instance, but like I truly think like iPad kids are scary. It hurts their brain. Like I saw something on like line that said like kids are learning at terrible rates now.
Yeah,
like awful rates or whatever. Like
listen, your attention deficit gets lower. You have no imagination. Does that make sense? When you get that constant dopamine kick, like it's like you don't like the beauty about not having technology around you is that you get bored, right? You get bored, so then you think about stuff to do. Like you're like, am I touching you? Am I touching you? Like even
What?
like you know like those games that you used to play like am I touching you? Like you know what I mean? Like we talked
No.
about this in psychology. Like we literally talked about this in class where it's like you play games where it's like you're like you're like touching your sibling, you're like you're messing with them and you like get them to close their eyes and you're like am
I
I
was just
touching you?
very
Am I touching
confused.
you
I thought
here?
this was a
And like you
game, like on the iPhone.
no, like you like touch their leg and like you could
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
get
yeah.
annoyed
I got
and then
you.
like because you're like you're touching me, stop, like you know stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like you play games with your siblings and stuff and like you find out ways to like deal with your boredom that fosters things like creativity, problem solving, stuff like that. Little things that you foundational things that you need when you grow up. Like even like Legos, right? Legos
Just being
like,
able to
being
talk
able-
to people and
exactly.
talk to other
and like
kids.
interact with other kids. And I like we have like and I can think of very specific people in mind where especially COVID children did not like I feel really, really bad for like those alpha people, alpha gen, whatever, plus COVID kindergarten, middle school onset. Because you legitimately, especially those kindergartners, they have no idea how to like interact with a child, like other people that are their age without masks, like without like being like, oh, I need to like keep to myself. And that's things that you carry with you. You know what I mean? It can be you can have unconditioning, like right. You can have little changes here and there where you're like, sweetie, like it's okay, like you can go. But it's like when that's your first exposure to everybody else outside of your family and it's like masked, like that has to do something. Somebody needs to do a study on that, honestly. That has to do something, you know? Especially for that long, like a few years, like that's it's not like a tiny blimp of life. At that point, like I feel like if I had children, I would just keep them at home and just be like, you know what? Like
but it's too much work. Like if you're a working mom
No,
or
but,
dad, like
you're
that's
already-
too much
but
work.
You're already off of work. You're already like COVID's already there. Like,
Too much work.
I don't know if I would just homeschool them for a little bit and then just send them back, you know?
But you don't want to do a homeschool. Like the transition's there regardless. I was talking about like speaking of work and stuff. There's also this division between generations of like the wanting to work in the office and not, and how like boomers are like super strict on their work, and like millennials will like, as long as I have my coffee, like I'm good, and then Gen Z's like
I don't even
oh, like I'm not doing this work. And I think that's like really funny that we're like the generation to like change that.
No, I think a lot of people that I've heard just like out there in the news and stuff are very concerned. Like they're like afraid of us.
They're afraid of us.
But like
yeah.
honestly, I don't think they should be. I think we're like a force. Like I think that outside of like our terrible music taste, I think that our generation is going to be the no BS, I don't take any crap from you, like I know my limits generation and boundaries generation, you know? Like I feel like a lot of us are going to be very people who are going to be willing to kind of say no to things.
I think we're also a generation that's a lot more empathetic. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but I mean like inclusive is my way of being like
we're
empathetic.
Way more inclusive,
like we're just a lot more open to new things than other generations, I feel.
For sure.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah.
I would literally say so. I'm trying to think. Because the other thing is it's like we can I don't really associate with that. One of my friends literally calls me Gen Z plus, and I get so freaking annoyed whenever I hear that. Because I think that there's also a division within Gen Z of like advocacy. Like I feel like our generation is like very much like when you see a problem, like a social cause, we're so quick to be like add to story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I feel like our level and some of it is like some of it, sometimes people do it to just do it. Like, I'll be the first to come on here and just, like, hot take, like, expose everybody for what they do. Like, a lot of times, like, you feel pressure to post about a certain cause or a certain event that's happening in the world because you don't want to be looked upon as, like, you don't care about what's going on. But I feel like, in some ways, having that pressure is a good thing because it forces our generation to, unlike millennials and other people that are older us, actually look at the cause and recognize it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like older generations, because they're not as integrated into social media, or they don't really know how to use it effectively, or they don't understand the power of it as like a mobilization force. They don't realize that, or they're more willing to ignore issues than to just look at it, because we have as a collective a social pressure to recognize issues when they come, and I like that.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
that's pretty valid.
Yeah,
Because I'm trying to think, like, we were talking about how, like,
but at the same time, cancel culture for us sucks. I'm really against cancel culture, like in general.
Yeah.
Like the Gen Z cancel culture is extremely, like, while we're really good at other things, I completely disagree with that.
I also was just gonna talk about like something on a lighter note, like the shows
sorry.
that we grew up on. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Gen Z shows, like Disney Channel, never the same.
No.
I just honestly like peak Disney Channel movies. I saw like the best Halloween, like because Halloween just passed. Girl versus Monster.
Oh my
Which
God,
one was
yes.
the one with Olivia Holt? I just saw her on my TikTok the
Oh
other
my God, I
day,
forgot.
and it was iconic.
I know what you're talking about.
I forgot that one. That one's iconic. Like anything with Selena Gomez, iconic. Like what were we talking about? Princess Protection Program,
Oh my
Monte
God,
Carlo,
iconic,
another
iconic.
Cinderella story. Like how Princess Diaries. I have a connection to the Princess Diaries. I think it's because it gives me Anastasia movie vibes. Because the lady reminds me. That's it. The girl from Julie Andrews in Princess Diary reminds me of the
She
lady
is
in
giving
Anastasia.
completely
That's
grandma.
exactly why.
Yeah,
They look identical.
no, they don't look identical, Ava.
Yes, they do.
They don't look identical. The lady in the grandma in Anastasia is literally has gray hair. Poor Julie Andrews literally is blonde.
I know, but they have
Like,
the same
They
haircut.
have the same. They don't. Similar,
Yes, they do.
Similar.
I'm searching this up.
Similar. But the thing is, in general, their vibes incredibly similar. Vibes are the
If
same.
you have never
look is
watched
different.
Anastasia 1997 movie, stop what you're doing right now and go watch it with a cup of hot cocoa in your snuggly blanket, and then afterwards tell me that isn't the greatest movie you've ever seen.
Cinematic
Thank you.
masterpiece.
Thank you.
Cinematic masterpiece. It's so good. But like Hercules, oh my God. So many movies that we grew up on that are like actual cinematic gold, and these girls are literally growing up on like freaking, I don't even know.
What
Inside
are they
Out.
growing
Like,
up on?
Like,
Actually, they just announced that.
they announced a new movie. I saw that.
Yeah, Anxiety.
See what?
Actually, you're right. She doesn't look that much. I mean, kind of.
Wait, the movie's called Anxiety?
No, the movie's not called Anxiety. Is this not like her?
Ava, the vibes are there. I told you, the vibes are there. But okay, and also if for true cinematic effects, go look up
the Dowager Anastasia movie.
Yeah, exactly. So you can see
The
what we're looking
Dowager
at.
Empress.
Dowager Empress.
Marie
But
Paint, I
she
think.
was so cutesy. But like,
That movie.
oh my God,
Ugh,
it's so good.
I love it.
Oh my
Anyway,
God,
what were
so
you gonna
good.
say?
But what I was saying was, oh yeah, was the movie called Anxiety? Is it literally
Oh no,
called
the
Anxiety?
movie's not called Anxiety. The movie's
like, that's such a
Inside Out, but they
depresso
added
espresso.
anxiety as an emotion.
To Inside Out?
Yes, to Inside Out in the new movie.
Interesting.
Which is really like, this is the other thing. It's like, it's very common, I feel like, for people to, like, the amount of diagnosis that this generation has had is crazy too. Like ADHD diagnoses are increasing. Anxiety, people who have anxiety has increased. And again, I think it's all because of social media too.
I think social media definitely has a huge impact. But we also talked about this in psychology because I have a midterm about this tomorrow. There's a huge part of it is the fact that because mental health and mindfulness has become such a, like, it's become way less stigmatized than it did 20 years ago. And that was something that our professor was talking to us about. He had some mental health problems when he was in college.
Like more people are going to therapy.
Exactly. And he felt like he could only tell 2 of his friends that he was going to see the school counselor. And he went to UT. So he used like our UT mental health, UHS, like the UT mental health services. And he literally only felt like he could tell 2 people. If I've not saying I have or haven't, but if I were to use a UT health resource, mental health resource, I would have absolutely no problem, or I wouldn't feel judged at all if I told any of my friends that were using it. If anything, I would feel like my other friends would come up to me and be like, oh yeah, like I did too, you know?
Okay, Sophie, do you have anything else to say about Gen Z, Gen Alpha, Gen Millennial. Sorry, not Gen Millennial, but millennials.
There also is a Gen Millennial, like the millennials that are trying so hard to be Gen Z, but that's a different topic.
That's a different topic.
But no, thank you for doing this episode idea.
Of course, I liked it a lot. I'm still gonna say I'm Gen Z.
Yeah, me too.
Honestly, like Gen Z, I think is superior.
Purr.
Sorry if I offend anybody.
Sorry,
but
Capricorns, January Capricorns.
Capricorns.
I know, we're superior.
Oh, I meant in generation, but yeah, we're Capricorns, Aquarius rising, Aquarius moon. We can have an astrology episode, please.
Okay, listen, but I can't talk about that. I want
an astrology episode. Okay, next episode's astrology.
If you guys get to vote.
Okay.
Should we do an astrology episode, yes or no?
Okay, I'll post it where? On my story?
Yeah.
On the story?
On my story. We'll post it on our Twin Tell All
astrology episode. Okay, thanks guys for listening to Ep 14.
Yay.
Love you guys. Thanks for listening again. You guys are all so awesome. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.